Good morning, traders. Hopefully you can hear me okay. All right. Sorry for the late start. I had a couple computer problems, so. All right. Let's get going. Let's take a look. Start out with the ES. I mean, the CS is not letting go. I mean, we're at a nice trend up. You can't deny it, right? At the moment, we've got this higher highs all the way from 4th of July, just continuing during the US session. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 higher highs. Now, overnight, they failed on during Asia. Let me get my drawing tools out here for a second. During the Asia opening, went up there, kind of hit the rim, but did not take out the previous US session high. And once we got below this pivotal area, which comes in right around that 94 area, you could see how the market then continued lower. And then we took out the previous couple days, in fact, the low of the week. So, we're due for some kind of an adjustment, but you can't fade the strength of the market too much. Let the data points kind of pull us in. That's just the way you have to play every day. In this case, still have a really nice trend that you can't deny. Let me see here. Yeah, here's the let me clear this out for a second. We'll take a look at it, just a daily chart for right now. Well, all right, let's clear out these tools right here, right? So you've got this nice steady trend to the upside that we started back in the end of April, and have really not backed off. Basically just having little corrections all the way up, but pretty solid at the point, at this point. So with that being said, we don't have to stop. When I look at my dailies, or I should say my weekly charts, we did measure out pretty much right around this area to be the measurement from January's breakout to the upside, kind of all the way up to be measured out close to this 56.5 to 57. Now, when you're looking at a weekly chart with yearly volume overlay, like I showed you before, this was the extended measurement. Now, it doesn't mean we have to stop, but you can see the market is starting to push back down. We had major market rotation, the last couple of days. Dow was up over 700, 75 in the Russell, but the NASDAQ was starting to correct a bit. And you can see the NASDAQ here, how we look, where the NASDAQ does not have that persistency of trend up, failing, leaving this big tail during the CPI and never coming back to test it, where the US session and the ES did come back up. So just a little rotation out of the NASDAQ stocks kind of into the Russell and the Dow. All right, so let's go back and just take another quick look here. The pivot for the day comes in at 56.94. You could see the tail here, and we never could get back above it. It's the bottom of the value area from the previous US session structure and day session. And then you can see it's kind of also important from the previous Asia and Europe session here, kind of the top of the value area where we poked at this level after CPI. So now that is a good flip zone as long as we're below it. The market kind of pushed down. Currently, we could continue to get a push. This 5644 is a high volume node, the next high volume node. We're inside this little cave, right? Low volume. And this is the inside pocket as well. So we stopped for the time being here. This is inside this tail, but we could get a bigger push and get down to 56.43. On the opening, we will have a gap probably because we're pretty far from yesterday's US session lows, right? So I'm going to just mark off that US session low. Hang on 1 second. Let's just put that in there. I wanted to leave that open just so you can see how much the market had pushed down off the pivot. All right. Let's go back to the drawing board and look at these other options, contracts here, the markets. So the crude also being quite the, quite the rally, but coming back now just to correct a bit. Hang on 1 second. Just let's. So this crude looks like we should have a nice little pop, and we're continuing to pop as you speak. As we're up 96, but I think the crude can continue. I think we'll test 82. That's the previous breakout level, kind of untested after this break, POC, during the US session. We did have a gap this morning that we opened up a little bit, opened up, filled the gap, and now we're continuing higher. As we speak, you could see the crude is moving higher, right? And if we get above 81, 99, 98, this level here, PLC from this Monday, the weekly US session structure, I think we could, get this kind of a push up to 82.72. That's the inside pocket. So above it, 82, probably get up to about 82.75. That would be my expectations. Doesn't mean that we have to, but that's what I'm looking at. So let's see how they test 82. If they get on the other side of 82, we can continue this move up. All right. And let's just take a little look here. You can see how this looks. It's pretty interesting, right? When you do look at the dailies, for those that don't have market profile, it's okay, but for the most part, you kind of have this bull flag. We had this nice rally, and we're back above this the daily EMA, right? It's just right here. So you could say we did test below it, but at this point, if we take out the previous range that we had yesterday, there's a good chance we're going to make a move up to that level. All right. Let's move on to the next market. All right. Did I give the pivot? Let's see. The pivot here. No, I didn't. I'm sorry. So the pivot comes in at 80.70. It's a big area. You can see we had that's the point of control from the previous US session from yesterday, and overnight they respected this area. They traded there almost the entire overnight session, and then we closed at the highs, which is pretty strong. The fact that we came out of this and closed up here, and this was a high volume node. So here we go. We're still moving up, as you could see, and I suspect we're going to test 82 with ease. All right, let's look over here. You could see the volume picking up as we're going higher, just showing that we're having some kind of decent participation by the bigger players. So good volume on this up move, testing 82. All right, let's move on to the next chart. All right, hang on a second. Let's see, what do we have here? Okay, let's take a look at this gold. Again, some of these are, rallying pretty good at the moment. We've got the gold pushing up, had 4 days of making new contract highs, as you can see during the U.S. session, or 3 days for the most part. And gold's continuing to look good. It's the stud muffin. It had a nice rally. We have a tiny bit of a gap from this morning's low to the previous U.S. session highs, but I suspect if we don't take out this overnight high, which is important. Let's just see how that looks here. You can see we have a little bit of a nice sharp trend outside the Keltner channel, but if it can't take out the overnight high early, which right now that comes in, let's see, 2487.40. That was the overnight highs right here. If they can't early in the morning take it out, they might come back, fill this tiny gap, and get down to the pivot. The pivot was the point of control from the U.S. session, which we spent quite a bit of time up here. A little bit of a P formation, which is very bullish. It's usually a short liquidation, shorts covering, and we're trying to squeeze the shorts long as coming into the market, and the pivot comes in right around this 24.68. They get back below 24.68. I think then we can take out the overnight lows, call it 66, and come back into these single prints. So it's possible. I can see us possibly testing the pivot and the overnight lows rather than the overnight highs, or a little bit on the extended side. We'll see. Definitely have a cave, these single prints, this undeveloped area that the market might want to come back in and just kind of do a little tuck pointing. So it looks like it's struggling to test the highs at the moment, but still bullish in the big picture, making new contract highs, right? All right, let me clean this out. Let's go to the next market. All right. Are we having fun? All right. This EC had one hell of a rally off of this balanced area that we had. The takeoff zone left the gap and has been pretty strong at the moment. Now, early in the morning, we did the same thing, similar to the gold. We were trying to take out the overnight highs, so far failed. I think they kind of did it too much too fast. I highlighted the gap from this morning's low to yesterday's high. So you can see this big cave single prints. More than likely, we're going to come into some of this. I don't know that we'll fill it all in, but these are the single prints similar to maybe the gold trying to fill the cave in the single prints, a little too much too fast. These highs are pretty important. And this was the level from before. Looking back, 109.54 is the pivot. They get below that, then we could do a full cave fill and possibly even come back to this 109.38. So at this point, EC is probably on its way down to test inside these single prints. And we'll keep an eye on that and see if they could do that. Now, the pivot is 109.54. That should be more reachable than the entire cave, All right, let's move on to the next level or the next market. All right, let's see here. What do we have? Let's take a look at the bonds. Bonds, this is a big area for the bonds. If you look back, I have it marked off because this is where we try to get a lift. the U.S. session came up here, took out this high, but then we started this solid move down. And if you look all the way back here, you could just see how many times we came up here and failed. So that swing high is going to be important now. Now, if you look at it here, you can see why I filled that out. This was a big congested area that we kept failing up against, and we might possibly, for now, back off a little bit, right? You've got this overnight high did take out the U.S. session high, but this morning we couldn't even take out, get above the value area from the overnight highs, and now we're kind of flirting with the pivot 120.02. I suspect or expect a little bit of a push down, maybe down to the at least 119.27 is possible. It's not that far away. That would kind of make it back down to this high volume node right above the previous U.S. session point of control. So 25 to 27 is probably where the bonds are going to back off a little bit for the time being. Most of these markets had a little bit of extended push up and kind of need to come back and, have a little kumbaya moment and fill in some of this, the caves. But in this case, this is such a big area, it's a little bit different when you have that kind of overhead resistance where we had 3 different tries up here and had the market, the bonds peel back, which it's very possible that, if we do get above at some point this 120 area, 120, 23 to 26, it's a different story than the bonds could continue higher, but push back down in here is very possible. At least down to 119.27. All right. All right. Let's go back here and to our main drawing board. All right. Okay. So far what we have here, you see the gold on these 5-minute volume candles. We had a nice push up, took out this big fat up candle. And now we're working our way back down, which is where, we were looking at the cave and single prints and the gold, so they could push them back down. Same here, we were looking for 82. We just pretty much got up there and hit the rim. And you could see 3 sizable volume bars on this extended run. So short term, this will be an area that we're going to kind of keep our eyes on, right? And the ES is continuing to push into the tail and take out the previous overnight lows. The pre-market overnight lows. And this next level of 56.44 is probably where we're going to end up testing. It's the inside pocket from Thursday and going into Friday's, lift. It's all this like area where we tried to kind of balance. And it's a high volume, the beginning of this high volume area. So 56.44 is very possible. Now we're going to leave a pretty big gap if we open up here. So we're about to open up, and I'll let you, let's just watch the opening, and I'll be right back.